Falling leaves in a quiet stream, lost in the current, caught in a dream. The sky whispers secrets, soft and low, a hidden truth only the brave will know. Every chapter, every fall, there's a meaning behind it all. No moment wasted, no tear in vain. Every lesson grows through pain. Real life, real stories, real lessons inside. Truth is
Hey everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Mia, and today we've got a really mind-bending story to unpack. I'm super excited to have Lucas here with me. Lucas, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Mia. Happy to be here.
So we're diving headfirst into the story, The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight. I mean, the premise alone is enough to make your head spin, right? Like, a teenager wakes up, and poof, nobody remembers him.
It's a classic what-if scenario, but taken to an extreme.
Totally. So let's just dive right in, shall we? The whole idea of being completely erased from everyone's memory, it's like the ultimate isolation. Okay, Lucas, so let's talk about our main guy here, the teenager. He wakes up, and the world is essentially a stranger's world. His mom doesn't recognize him. His friends are like, "Who are you?" Even his school records are wiped clean. That's got to be the most disorienting thing imaginable. What's happening here, conceptually?
Right, so in The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight, the core concept is existential erasure. It's not just about people forgetting him. It's as if he never existed in the first place from their perspective. Everything that tied him to reality, his relationships, his personal history, his digital footprint, it's all gone. He's literally a ghost in his own life.
A ghost? Wow, that's heavy. So it's like his entire identity, built from all these connections, just vanished. He's got the physical form, but the social and personal scaffolding is gone. It makes me wonder, how does he even begin to process that? I mean, I'd be in full panic mode.
Exactly. The immediate aftermath would be a cascade of disbelief, fear, and profound confusion. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing yourself, but then your own mother looks at you with blank eyes, like you're an intruder. That's the initial shockwave in the story.
No kidding. And then, as if that's not enough, the story throws another curveball. His dog still recognizes him. But then the dog starts talking and drops this bombshell that he was never human to begin with. Lucas, what is going on with that dog? It sounds like the plot is just escalating wildly.
That's where the narrative of The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight really pivots. The dog, Buster, becomes the sole anchor to the boy's known reality. But Buster revealing he was never human fundamentally redefines the boy's understanding of himself and his past. It implies that the normal reality the boy thought he lived in was, in fact, already a construct.
A construct. So are you saying that the whole normal world was kind of a facade for him, even before this memory wipe happened? That's a wild thought. So the forgetting, it wasn't random, but somehow connected to this reveal about Buster?
That's the implication the story sets up. If Buster, who he thought was his loyal pet, wasn't human, it raises questions about who else might not be what they seem, or what his own origins truly are. The memory loss isn't just an external event. It's possibly an internal unraveling or a necessary step for a deeper truth to emerge.
Let me think. So it's like the world forgot him because the world itself wasn't what he thought it was? That's a huge mental leap. It's like his whole life was a play, and he just woke up backstage, and everyone else was in on the script except him. But then why would the dog be the one to tell him?
The dog Buster serves a narrative function here. In many stories, animals represent innocence, loyalty, or a connection to something primal. Buster's unique ability to speak and reveal the truth suggests he's a bridge between the boy's perceived reality and this new, unsettling truth. He's the only one who could deliver this information without being part of the forgetting mechanism.
A bridge. Gotcha. So he's the messenger, and this message, that Buster was never human, it totally reframes everything for the boy and the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight. It's not just about being forgotten, but about potentially never having been in the way he thought. That's intense.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from external rejection to internal revelation. The boy's struggle transforms from, "Why doesn't anyone remember me?" to, "Who am I really if my past and my closest companions weren't what they seemed?"
Wow, that's a massive shift in perspective. So for this first topic, the key takeaway is the nature of identity and reality being intrinsically linked to perception and memory, and how the story of the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight uses complete erasure and a talking, non-human dog to question those very foundations. Let's pause and reflect on that before we move on. All right, Lucas, picking up from that incredible mind bender about identity, let's talk about how this plays out in the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight. After the initial shock and Buster's revelation, what does the boy actually do? How does he navigate this world where he's invisible?
Well, initially, it's pure survival. He's an anomaly. He can't enroll in school, he can't get a job, he can't even prove he exists to get food. He's effectively living on the fringes. Buster, of course, is with him, and their conversations become his only human contact, even though Buster isn't human.
That's gotta be so lonely. Like, physically present, but completely disconnected. I can't even imagine. And Buster's talking. Is Buster like a dog that talks normally? Or is it more like telepathy? I'm picturing like a Snoopy situation, but, more serious.
The story presents Buster's speech as direct verbal communication. It's not telepathy. Buster's nature, as revealed, is the crucial element. He's not just a talking dog. He's something else entirely, and his ability to communicate is tied to his true origin, which is still a mystery to the boy, and to us as readers.
Right. So it's not just a quirky talking animal. It's part of the bigger puzzle of the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight. But if he can't interact with society, where does he get information? How does he start figuring out what's happening or who he is?
That's where his investigation begins. He has to observe. He watches people, he tries to access public spaces without drawing attention, which is difficult when no one registers your presence. He might try to access information indirectly, perhaps through public terminals or by eavesdropping. It's a very stealthy, almost detective-like approach to his own existence.
Stealthy detective. I like that. So he's basically playing private investigator for his own life. And this would lead him to, what? Discovering other anomalies? Or maybe noticing patterns in the forgetting?
Potentially both. He might start to see that the forgetting isn't always perfect, or that there are subtle glitches in the reality around him. Buster, being aware of the true nature of things, can guide him, pointing out inconsistencies the boy might miss. Buster essentially becomes his interpreter of a reality that's been subtly altered or is not what it appears.
So Buster is the translator for the bizarre. And what about this never human thing? Does the story hint at what Buster actually Hugh is? Is he alien? Some kind of magical creature? Or something else entirely from the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight?
The story keeps that deliberately ambiguous for a significant portion. This ambiguity is key to the suspense. Is Buster a benevolent guide, a trickster, or part of the very system that erased the boy? His non-human origin suggests he has a perspective and capabilities beyond human understanding, making his motivations all the more fascinating.
Ooh, the mystery of Buster. I love that. It makes him a really interesting character, not just a plot device. So if he's not human and everyone else forgot the boy, is there anyone else who does remember? Or is it just the boy and Buster against the world?
That's the central conflict. Initially, it appears to be just the boy and Buster. However, the narrative might introduce other individuals or entities who are aware of the boy's existence, or who are also anomalies. This expands the scope of the story beyond a simple boy versus world scenario.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a solo mission for him and the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight. There could be allies, or perhaps more adversaries who are also aware. That adds a whole new, layer of complexity. And when you talk about glitches or inconsistencies, what kind of things are we talking about? Like things just phasing through walls or people's memories flickering?
It could be subtle, perhaps objects appearing or disappearing, conversations that loop, or people reacting in ways that seem programmed rather than genuine. Buster might point out that a person's eyes flicker when they interact with the boy, or that a certain building isn't quite solid when viewed from a specific angle. These are the signs that the reality the boy is trying to rejoin is, in fact, not stable.
Wow, that's like a glitch in the Matrix, but for a teenage boy's life. So he's not just forgotten, he's essentially living in a simulation that's malfunctioning around him. That's a really powerful way to frame the isolation. So what's the goal then? Does he try to force people to remember him, or does he try to understand this new reality?
His initial goal is likely to regain his old life, to force remembrance. But as he investigates, and Buster reveals more, his goal shifts towards understanding why Tereti was forgotten and what Buster's true nature is. He needs to find a place where he belongs, whether that's by reinserting himself into his old world, or by finding a new one that accepts him, anomalies and all.
Right. It's about finding belonging. And the story of the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight seems to explore this by making the boy question everything he thought was real. He's not just fighting against forgetting, but against a potentially false reality. That's quite the journey.
It truly is. The narrative expertly uses the premise of amnesia to explore themes of authenticity, perception, and the often unseen structures that define our existence.
So, regarding the boy's journey and his interactions with Buster, what we've discussed boils down to the protagonist actively investigating a fractured reality, guided by a mysterious, non-human companion, with the ultimate goal of understanding his place in a world that has systematically erased him. Let's take a moment to reflect before continuing. Lucas, we've talked about the boy's internal struggle and his external investigation in The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight. Now, let's dig into the implications of this whole scenario. What does it mean for us as an audience when we see a character go through this?
Well, it taps into a universal fear, doesn't it? The fear of insignificance, of being erased. We all want to feel seen, to have our lives matter. When the boy is forgotten, it amplifies that desire and makes us question what constitutes a meaningful existence.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, if my absence isn't even noticed, did my presence even matter? That's a question I think a lot of people grapple with at some point. And then you add Buster into the mix, revealing he was never human. That shifts it from existential dread to something else entirely.
It introduces the idea of manufactured reality. If Buster, a creature we perceive as familiar and trustworthy, is actually something else, then what about the other elements of the boy's life? The story makes us complicit in the boy's investigation, constantly questioning what's real and who to trust.
That's a really good point. We're right there with him, trying to piece it all together. And when Buster reveals he was never human, it's like a cognitive contrast. It flips our own assumptions about the story. We thought we were dealing with a human drama, but it's deeper. It's like realizing the stagehands are also the actors.
Exactly. And the forgetting mechanism itself. In a world increasingly reliant on data and digital footprints, the idea of someone being completely erased from databases is almost a futuristic nightmare. The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight plays on that anxiety about our own digital permanence, or lack thereof.
No kidding. Like, if my whole digital life just vanished, would I even have a traceable existence? It makes you think about how much of our identity is tied to external validation and records. So the story's commentary is about more than just personal relationships. It's about our place in a structured, recorded society.
Precisely. It's a metaphor for how easily we can be marginalized or rendered invisible in society, even without supernatural or sci-fi elements. The boy's experience highlights the fragility of social belonging and the importance of community and recognition.
That's a really profound takeaway from The Boy Who Was Forgotten by Everyone Overnight. So the whole narrative can be seen as a commentary on authenticity versus manufactured reality, and the deep human need for recognition, amplified by the unsettling idea that even our closest companions might be part of a larger deception.
It's a powerful exploration of selfhood when stripped of all external markers. The story forces us to confront what truly defines us. Is it our memories, our relationships, or something more fundamental within ourselves?
And it uses that talking dog, who was never human, as the catalyst for that ultimate self-discovery. That's such a clever narrative choice. It's not just about being forgotten. It's about questioning the very fabric of reality and identity itself. It's a lot to chew on.
It is. And the ending, whether it's hopeful or tragic, often hinges on whether the boy finds a new sense of self or a way back to acceptance, but on his own terms, informed by his experiences.
That makes sense. So, to tie it all back to the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight, the deeper meaning lies in how our sense of self is constructed through our relationships and societal validation, and how the unraveling of those connections, coupled with the revelation of hidden truths, like Buster's, can lead to a radical reevaluation of who we are and what reality truly means.
That's a very accurate summation of the story's thematic weight.
Wow. Well, Lucas, this has been absolutely fascinating. We've really dug deep into the boy who was forgotten by everyone overnight, from the initial shock of erasure to the profound implications of his journey and Buster's revelation. It's a story that really sticks with you, huh?
It's definitely a story that lingers, prompting a lot of introspection about identity and reality.
Totally. It's given me a lot to think about regarding how we perceive ourselves and others and the hidden layers beneath our everyday lives. I really appreciate you breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure, Mia. It's a rich story with a lot to unpack.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps today's episode. Thanks for listening.
Falling leaves in a quiet stream, lost in the current, caught in a dream. The sky whispers secrets, soft and low, a hidden truth only the brave will know. Every chapter, every fall, there's a meaning behind it all. No moment wasted, no tear in vain. Every lesson grows through pain. Real life, real